Okay, so if you haven't watched the fourth video of this series, I suggest you view that before viewing this tutorial, because abstraction requires a good knowledge on inheritance in order to make full use out of it. Anyway, let's get started. Today we are talking about abstraction, interfaces, and enums in Java. So of course, first of all, we're going to use abstract classes and interfaces together, and in addition we're going to use classes as well. So of course we have an animal class right here. As you see, an animal has quite a few properties, like let's just say the legs, and then of course we have, let's just say, a tail. But of course an animal could either have a tail or not have a tail. So of course we have the size, and then we obviously have the color right here. So of course, let's go on, make our constructor, which of course is going to take in arguments, which will do int L. Of course, I'm doing all of these because I want to save some time. And of course, we can get into the concepts. So now we do legs is L, has tail equals H, size is now S, and color is now C. And of course, I'm going to do the getters and setters. So we do get legs, we return the legs, and then of course we just copy paste here, and then of course we do get has tail, which will be boolean, which will return has tail. We do string get color on the bottom here, then we return the color, and then of course we return the get size. Of course I got rid of the parentheses, so of course I'm going to re-add it, and this time we're going to return size. Now of course let's put our toString. So do public string toString, make sure the visibility is always the same, and make sure the method is always the same as well. So let's say we got legs plus, and then let's just say has tail plus, let's just say we have this plus, let's just say we have the size plus, and then of course we have plus color. Actually \n would be better. And of course, essentially, let's go ahead and test this out. So of course we do public static void main string args, and of course we're going to create a new animal object, an equals new animal. And then of course we need legs, let's just say 4, and then height, not height, has tail, it's true, and then of course we have the size as well, which is 31, and then we have the color. The color is going to be red. Sure, this may not seem realistic, but it's the thought that counts. And now we're going to display the entire instance of and, so the toString should actually run after we build this. And there we go, we got 4, true, 31, and red. Of course, I got an extra space, so that's why the display isn't really convenient. So of course, this should be able to format it evenly. So now, we can go ahead and make some modifications to this class here. So of course right here, animal is pretty generic as well. Animal is an animal, but animal is a bit too generic. So here's what you can do instead. You don't want to create an object. You don't want to create an object, but you want to create an object of the subclass. So of course we do public abstract class. Now keep in mind we will actually get an error here, saying that whenever we create a new animal, we get this error, animal is abstract, cannot be instantiated. But this is on IntelliJ rather than any other IDE, let's just say Eclipse or NetBeans. So of course we can just go on and make some other classes as well. So you say extends animal, pig extends animal, and we also do cow extends animal. And of course, the main reason why we're getting errors for all three of these classes is because we get this error saying no default constructor. So we say public sheep, and then of course we want to go ahead, add in the parameters here. So of course, int legs. Of course, I'm just going to copy in the parameters. Okay, so, and then of course we use the super keyword to refer back to the superclass. So now we do LHSC, of course, and that's all going to be it. Now, of course, we're going to copy all of it, and then of course to the pig and cow class. So the pig should now have all these properties, and so will cow. And of course, we will not get errors for each one of those. However, we do actually still have this error. So I'm just going to use a comment here. Hold on, so of course, we can actually make modifications. So we do get an error once we say new animal, but if we do new, let's just say pig, we shouldn't be able to get an error. And we will actually get the same results. So now we can just go on and talk about interfaces now. So of course right here, the main reason why we don't need all these additional methods like the getters and the toStrings is because the superclass takes care of all of that. Those methods are inherited from the superclass to the subclasses. So we already have the toString. So of course, something before hopping onto interfaces is that you can have abstract methods. And that essentially you can of course go into abstract, public abstract, void, make sound. And then of course, you want to go ahead, put parentheses and a semicolon. Abstract methods cannot have a body. And of course, once we get into interfaces as well, you'll see why. And now we're going to get an error for each one of these classes. It's because we have a method that doesn't have a body. So in the subclasses, we must define a body for each one of those. So we do public void make sound. And we want to make sure that the visibility is nice. If we add in a parameter, then of course we're going to get an error here saying that we don't have the exact same method. So we must use polymorphism. To override the method. Not really override, because the method doesn't have a body in it. But we're implementing the method. So now we system output line ba. And of course, we're going to copy all the way to the classes as well. So now we're going to go ahead and do, let's just say, moo. And in the pig class, we say oink. Now let's test it out in the animal class. So I'm going to make two more. Like, let's just say A2. Let's call this A1, A2, and A3. And now, of course, we're going to set this to new pig, new sheep, and of course, we have a new cow, essentially. And now, of course, we're going to display... Actually, remove that. So, A1.makeSound. And I'm going to copy-paste. And then change these to A2.makeSound and A3.makeSound. So, essentially, we should be able to get 3 different results. So we say oink, ba, and then moo. There we go. That's how we know we're working. So basically, for abstract classes, notice how you can add a constructor, and of course you add private fields as well. And of course you have methods that also have bodies as well. For interfaces, they are not allowed. And of course, so this is why we have a soundable interfaces. We have a soundable interface and we have a movable interface. So of course we already have a sound here. So now of course, let's go ahead and make a sound. So let's make void make sound. And now of course, we're going to go ahead and make this public so that this is accessible within all the like subclasses, let's just say. And through all these other classes as well. So now let's just go on and of course go on and do the same for movable. So public void move. And of course we want a semicolon here. So in an abstract class, we actually do public abstract void make sound. The reason why we don't do abstract here is because interfaces assume that all these methods are abstract and therefore do not require a body. If we try to add a body, we get an error saying that interface abstract methods cannot have a body. And also, if we try to do a constructor, then we're actually going to get an error saying that not allowed in interface. So therefore, we're going to go ahead and, but you can do steps here, but you can't actually. Therefore, you need, if you want to initialize a variable, you need to set a initial value right here. So now let's just say you have 9 right here. So let's just say you have void move, and let's just say here, let's make this public so that this can be accessible here. And of course, since you can't add getter methods here, I think making this public is more useful here. So let's go on ahead and let's go on ahead and implement both of these interfaces. So of course, we're going to go ahead and do implements soundable, comma, movable. So keep in mind that you can only extend one class, but you can implement several classes. So of course, you can see now, if we actually remove all this, I'm just copy and pasting, but as you see, this method implements method in animal, and as you see right here, this still says implements method in animal, but of course right here, we still need the movable method here. So we're going to do public void move. So of course, steps ++, and that's essentially going to... So of course, interfaces are actually final here. So of course, steps are actually final. So let's remove this. And of course, let's only use the methods right here. So of course, now we don't have steps. So now let's system out println moving. And of course, we want the implementation to be different in every one of those classes. So we do public void move, oink, moving, and then of course, in our sheep class, we're going to go ahead moving. And of course, therefore, we can just go on ahead and test this out. So we can go ahead and move as well. So we got a1.move. And then of course, let's just say we do get a problem here. Let's just say we only implement the soundable in this type of class. So, whoops, my bad. Wrong thing. Okay, so we have to implement all these classes here. And let's just say... So of course here, we implement all these methods here. So of course, we got a1.move. And then of course, we have implements soundable, movable. So this is supposed to be a1 dot, let's just say this as well. So let's just say here, we're gonna get an error here because we actually have to go ahead and do the actual thing right here. So we got pig, sheep, and we got the cow here. So let's do make move. Let's do move here. And then of course we got a2.move. And then we also have a3.move. If we run this, then we should get 6 different results. Because even if we have the same method for each of those, the results are going to be different. So, to sum it all up, the difference between a class, abstract class, and interface is because a class can be made an instance of, while abstract classes and interfaces cannot be made of instances from, basically. So now, what is the difference between abstract classes and interfaces? So of course, they both cannot be instantiated, so specifically, object of those can't be instantiated. So, the main difference between abstract class and interface is that for abstract classes, you can have constructors and methods with bodies. Meanwhile, you have like only methods that have no bodies inside in interfaces. And of course, all the variables inside interfaces are final. So keep in mind of that. And anyway, we haven't really got time to talk about enums, so I guess I'm gonna talk about them later. So thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.